Yeah, we are seeing stronger efficiency off of the Black Friday ads, but there's a lot of priming going on. There's still a lot of scale potential behind evergreen creative. What we found with AppLovin in particular is that the more creative, the better. If you have like a podcast style ad, street interview style ads, like let's say 10 different hooks against similar versions of the ad body with different calls to actions or different copy variations. We want to make sure that we have as many options as possible. For Memorial Day, I went to launch another campaign, a supplementary one for specifically Memorial Day creative. And I very, very quickly realized I got a message from one of the account executives like, shut that down. Put your creative together, bundle it in one campaign, concentrate it, and let the algorithm handle the rest.
My name is Gareth. I'm a director on the e-commerce team. And I'm joined by the lovely Dan Bruwer. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So my name is Dan Bruwer, growth marketing manager here at Resident Home. For those who don't know Resident, they are the parent company behind several different e-commerce first mattress brands, principally their Nectar and Dream Cloud. And for a little bit more context there, into my role specifically, Resident was acquired by Ashley Furniture in the second quarter of 2024. It's kind of like a textbook acquisition in terms of merging the core competencies of both of the businesses. Ashley is absolutely world class in terms of manufacturing and operations, while Resident is really built from the ground up around data-driven performance marketing. So my team, the group I'm a part of, we call ourselves RDMA, the Resident Direct Marketing Agency, and we have been managing the digital media spend for Ashley. Principally,
the brand itself's been around for a really long time. Like, just give some context as to, where it comes from, and then just how transformative this new shift, or maybe it's not a shift so much as it is like a doubling down on really modern data-driven performance marketing.
Ashley has been around forever. They're obviously a beast in terms of American furniture companies as far as that goes, and their approach in the past was very corporate. It was much larger than like a lot of the small, nimble, agile brands that I've worked with over the course of my career. And that's a space that Ashley is not alone as far as retailers go in terms of having a rockier transition to the digital side of the business. And I think that was incredibly interesting for me to understand as well, coming into work with a brand where still 80 to 90% of the purchases that we see are happening in store and not online. And then there have been the addition of other players into the space. Furniture is obviously an incredibly competitive market, no different from mattress in a lot of regards, where residents really made a name for themselves in the space around a lot of the scaling. So most of what we've been trying to do is shift the approach away from one of just I don't want to say away from the brand building side, but introducing more of a performance driven approach where we're trying to get a lot deeper into metrics than what they were doing previously, which was a lot of CPC watching and counting our impressions as they come without much regard for the performance of
these people actually convert, whether you get a return on the dollar, right?
A lot opens up there. So I can very confidently say that AppLovin would not have been a part of the media mix if we were not involved. The way Resident had first heard about AppLovin was from the CEO, who gave Jared a call up and said, hey, we want to start testing here, running ads for mattresses on mobile game inventory. And Jared sort of infamously staked his career on it. We were naturally skeptical, of course. And he says, I will bet that nobody is going to click on one of these interstitial mobile game ads and walk out the door with a $1,200 mattress. It's just not going to happen. He didn't think it was feasible, and he was ready to stake everything on it. Thankfully, he's still around. But fast forward to this point in time, and now not only have we scaled it massively in terms of spend of share on the resident side of the business, but for Ashley as well, we started up in April, I want to say, of this year.
So you launched right before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And I think there may have been like a bit of a sale or like a strategy around testing the channel alongside that. Could you talk a little bit about that initial test, how you set it up, what were signs of life looking like, and really just if you had to give advice to someone who is going to give it a shot, what kind of tips would you give them?
At the end of the day, when we approach targeting, on Meta and on other paid social platforms. We do bucket AppLovin in with other paid social networks. We do a lot of things from a very broad lens. We've shifted away from a lot of the like niche or targeting strategies that we would have seen 5 or 10 years ago
So like
in
audience
the
lists, like
space.
things,
Yeah,
things like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. So I was a little surprised at first to see that there wasn't a lot of frills. There weren't a lot of options there. And that kind of sent me down this line of thinking of, okay, where are the priorities for this platform? What do they care about? What are they investing in? And I think that a lot of that is the algorithm, the machine learning, the retrieval engine, and a lot of that. So the setup of that initial campaign was very broad. It was very basic. It was a bundle of our top, I want to say, only around 10 performing creative, running on completely broad targeting with the ROAS goals. That's one of the main functionalities. Is just, okay, do you care more about ROAS or do you care more about CPA? As the performance marketer, yeah, it's pick one of the two, but everything else aside from that really only exists to explain why the core performance metrics aren't working. So it was a very, very simple setup from day one. And I remember specifically for Memorial Day, I went to launch another campaign, a supplementary one for specifically Memorial Day creative. The initial one we launched was all Evergreen material. And I very, very quickly realized I got a message from one of the account executives like, shut that down. Put your creative together, bundle it in one campaign, concentrate it, and let the algorithm handle the rest.
It's like, let's just keep it as simple as possible. Let's make it as streamlined as possible. Make the marketer, make the media buyer have to do as little as possible to see results, or at least, in terms of areas to focus, highest leverage points for performance.
Absolutely.
We really tell people that, listen, like if you want this channel to work, it's got to be on creative. I've looked through your library. It's
Yeah.
all like really high quality stuff. You've got you got a very visual product, right? And so I think a lot of videos, a lot of the products like really focus on design, really focus on build quality, even the UGC videos, things like that. Um, could you talk a bit about how ads you run on Axon differ from things you may run on paid social?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really starts with the understanding of the platform. So there's the two types of ad inventory on Axon here that I think they behave very differently. And there's different psychological considerations that you have to give to it. And the first is the interstitial placements in between levels. That is largely skippable inventory. So a lot of the same principles apply in terms of having really strong hooks. The first 3 to 5 seconds, you want to have stunning visuals. You want to have an incredibly impactful offer. You want to get the value props in there quickly and boldly, so you can retain users for a long period of time. And a lot of those fundamentals are what we see on other platforms. So a lot of the top performing, a lot of the top thumb stopping creatives that you'll see on other platforms, we have been able to repurpose for use on AppLovin here and really see
Yeah.
some fantastic results there. And the other part of that, I think the more important and the more interesting part is the rewards inventory. With the rewards inventory, those are your unskippable placements. And when we go through the flow, just to make sure everyone has a solid understanding of the flow of the AppLovin ads, it's a video placement first, followed by an end card or an interactive that can be static. So that's where we're repurposing a lot of our Black Friday, for example, with that coming up. But for Memorial Day, for all the big promo events, that's where we're putting a lot of our offer forward creative statics and gifts. And then finally, before the landing page, we'll get into catalog, which we can talk about a little bit later. You don't need the catalog, but after that placement, it'll go straight to the catalog. So you do kind of get the best of both worlds in terms of static and video performance there. But with that unskippable reward inventory, that's where we've really found that we can afford to go a little bit deeper into some of the storytelling aspects. If we have absolutely incredible ad body, a really killer call to action on a lot of these creatives, but we're doing a bunch of hook testing, trying out 10 different variations of that, and maybe there's one winner, maybe there isn't a winner in terms of the thumb stop rate. Those creatives would normally be dead. They would sit in the Google Drive graveyard. But we've really found that by coupling them, grouping them together in the creative assets, trying to take away a lot of the manual control and just give the algorithm the maximal possibilities of variations to really spin off of and find the right message for the right user. That's where
Yeah.
we've been able to see a lot of success.
And yet, when you look at your top spending videos, right? So ones that are getting the most spend, best performance, a lot of them tend to be 30 seconds plus, right? So they actually are kind of they're more akin to what should go in a rewarded ad slot.
Yeah.
Um, but you can't optimize it. We don't actually we don't reveal like where the slots are, partially because it's algorithmic, right? So it'll change and it'll
Yeah.
depend, and it's all impression based. But why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that even if it ends up being 70% inside an interstitial slot, right? So it's a skip delay, skippable after sort of 5-ish seconds. Why do you think that the 30-second ads are still getting a lot of spend performance?
I think that there's a lot of watch time on the platform as opposed to the real like user experience getting into it on social platforms where it's very, very important. Obviously, the number one thing that you're looking for with your ads is to stop the scroll, is to get people
Yeah.
to stop going. It's very, very easy to just flip right past it onto the next placement. There's also the fact of like how native an ad is to the individual platform. If you come up with something super polished, let's say a cut down CTV spot, and try to put it on Meta, immediately that's being flagged as an ad in the feed, and
Yeah.
it's be skipped through. Whereas on Axon, I think users are more prepared and sort of more willing, even if it's on a subconscious level, to sit through and really understand it.
And that's like the understood value exchange. It's okay, cool. I got to go play my one or two favorite, word and puzzle games. I play it every single morning with my morning coffee,
Oh yeah,
and I see ads, right? Like, and that's the deal. Like, they're actually okay with it. It's like the type of ad that can work in that consumer headspace is way different, right? It's totally different.
yeah, and we've seen that shift. I think largely on other platforms. If you take Meta for example, there's the boom in partnership ads. Everything wants to feel native. You want everything to be coming from a creator handle or a creator partnership, something with influencers. That's not even touching on TikTok or some other platforms where that we're looking at on a daily basis, where it really should be influencer first. So I think that AppLovin provides a much better space to actually be brand forward compared to a lot of those other platforms.
Yeah, and like you could still use creator content. You could still use UGC. Testimonials are super effective. It's just, I guess, the the uniqueness of the inventory is the fact that
Yeah.
you have that top of funnel space. Another thing you mentioned was, you sort of you take the 10, you dump them in, and you see how it goes, right? Could you actually unpack a little bit how you use like the multi-asset feature? Do you like, do you blow out the creatives? Do you keep them all together? How do you measure performance?
Yeah, what we found with AppLovin in particular is that the more creative, the better. Especially as we're looking at its core, built around the machine learning powered retrieval engine. We want to make sure that we have as many options as possible. So creative sets are a fantastic way to do that for those who don't know or haven't been in the platform or haven't tried it out yet. The creative sets give you the ability to, in a single add line item is what I'll call it, how it appears in the UI. You can add up to 10 videos and up to 10 statics / interactives as the end cards there. So we found that there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach the bundling. We have a couple of what I would like to call, I guess, winners bundles. That's just a lot of the top creative across product categories in our case.
Okay.
We've also been grouping them by creative style. So if you have like a podcast style ad, street interview style ads, like some more things that you're trying to test out, and you have, let's say, 10 different hooks against similar versions of the ad body with different calls to actions or different copy variations across those creatives. It's a lot easier than running the manual testing yourself, waiting to get statistical significance, going back to look to iterate on the winners. It makes my life as a media buyer a million times easier.
You have a really like nice like dining table. It looks like right now that you're running a lot of creative on. Yeah, do you always group it by product that way?
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. I've been grouping them by promo, especially for this past Labor Day and for
Okay.
Black Friday as well. We'll have dedicated promo sets that cover a variety of offers across product groups. For the Evergreen creative, I've been generally trying to group them around the shoots that we are doing, which just so happens to be a lot of the same product most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think that that's something that we're still very much leaning into with the testing is how do we best segment these? Is it by the style of an individual creative, like I mentioned, or is it the products in focus, or is it the offers in focus? And that's still something that we're continuing to experiment with. That's where a lot of our testing focus has gone. It's kind of moved up a level. Instead of being super, super granular, it's okay, which specific version of ad copy on the text overlay do I want to have here? It allows us to broaden our lens and I think cover a lot more ground, which is very important when we start to talk about things like creative velocity that we're really focused on, and that become crucial during big scaling seasons like Q4 here leading up to Black Friday.
On top of this thing, you mentioned, yeah, it was really strange. Someone had called me out for creating a promo campaign, and they told me just put it all in the same one and let it rip, right?
Yeah.
But what the model is doing is it's it's going to incorporate all the creative you have and serve them in an order that is going to move people through the funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if you think about it, like having the Evergreen creative in a campaign that is, you're running BFCM offers and holiday copy, it still makes sense. And maybe that Evergreen ad is still getting a lot of spend, right? It's still getting a lot of spend. And then you have these BFCM ads
Mm-hmm.
that are coming in and just getting crazy return. You may be tempted to pause that Evergreen ad down, but in fact, what it's probably doing is it's probably doing a really good job, like serving that skew, serving that dining
Yep.
table to a very large audience. And then based on their engagement, serving them afterwards is like Black Friday offer that's like, hey, get it now, right?
That's something that I want to caution people out there against as well, is in Q4 in particular, when we get into these holiday seasons, it's very easy to just become laser focused and completely pigeonhole on, okay, the Black Friday, like Cyber Monday creative is my number one absolute top priority. And I guess you have the ad account pulled up, because looking at the last week, our Black Friday offers went live around 2 weeks ago. And looking at what's spent the most since then, it's still Evergreen. It's still that dining table creative set with our crystalline shoot. And then, yeah, we are seeing stronger efficiency off of the Black Friday ads, but there's a lot of priming going on. There's still a lot of scale potential behind Evergreen Creative, and I think Evergreen Creative is really what separates some of the top brands that are able to really scale during promo times, and those that aren't are the ones that get too focused on Black Friday and sort of leave a lot of that like Evergreen and discoverability and creative diversity by the wayside and focus of, I have this really strong offer and I just know we're absolutely going to kill it, so I'm going to go all in there.
Okay, so you got holidays coming up. I had heard that you don't really lean in super heavily on like offers as opposed to other furniture companies maybe. So instead, I'm curious, like, how do you think about holiday creative strategy when you're not offering like 50+% off, get it now, limited time only? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely been one of the larger struggles from us on the Ashley side of the business, and I think that a lot of it does come back to what we were sort of just talking about, where it's leaning into what's working from an Evergreen winner standpoint. There still is a place for offer ads in the account. In the past, we've never really seen them take up more than 25-30% of our spend in terms of ad dollars, since we're just not as efficient as a lot of those players that are going, oh yeah, let's go to 80% for Black Friday this year. So
That's what you gotta wonder what the furniture is even made of, right?
absolutely. I ask myself that every day. So that's where, again, I would insist that we're continuing to lean into like a lot of our Evergreen strategies, and some of that does involve just simply reskinning some of our top Evergreen winners, whether it be from the past week, from the past month, from the past year, with whatever offer we're able to muster at that point. And we've still managed to see a lot of success by that, by leaning into what we have from an Evergreen side of things.
With respect to that, maybe talk a bit more around like the interactives side of the iteration, because I think it's a bit different, right?
Yeah.
A lot of folks would say you can actually like iterate on it more you can iterate on it more rapidly because it's a simpler asset, right? So I'm curious what you do with that component.
Absolutely. That really is where a lot of our focus is when it comes to iterating on the creatives and AppLovin, is with the interactives and with like a lot of the GIFs and statics that we're able to do, just because it's very easy for us to be able to crank out additional versions of those, and getting into the really nitty gritty details, testing against everything from color to exact like placements of the offers to orientation of the furniture is another one that we're looking at, trying to get the maximum amount of variables to cover off on a lot of those. And what an approach that I will often take when I go outside of creative sets in terms of dumping 10 videos in together will be, once I know that I have a proven winner from that group, then I will break it out as its own video and start to test the interactives against it. So you have these additional layers that we're able to pull from that I think can be very impactful. And still at that point, I am still letting the algorithm do its thing in terms of picking exactly which interactive, which end card we want to appear against that video.
Okay, on the catalog, I know that you've implemented it. You've done it quite well. Curious, like, what have you done much catalog testing? Like, what products to include in there? Obviously, you're using custom CSV, so you have a lot of control over what gets shown.
It was probably the single biggest struggle that we had to deal with
Hmm.
after
Why is
taking
that?
over for Ashley's media spend. There's a couple big reasons behind it. We didn't have a lot of experience in the catalog arena. Both
Hmm.
myself from my agency past and also on the resident side where we're focused on the mattress brands, King, Queen. That doesn't really make for a compelling catalog across the variety. So coming up to Ashley, where we have over 30,000 SKUs in some of these, it was incredibly daunting. And what we saw from our initial testing, this was across channels, is that our other creative, our BAU videos, as I call them, they didn't stand a chance in terms of driving performance. So it was really something that we grappled with: is okay, how are we going to find wins outside of the catalog arena? And that's kind of led us to, yes, we've really come a long way in terms of our creative testing approach and building out the flywheel to the point where we have begun to increase that share of spend versus what we're putting into the catalog. But we quickly realized that the best use of our time in a lot of instances was to get really, really deep into product set testing.
You've actually like optimized your catalog to be like very, very tight around certain product categories. Okay.
We still do a lot of run of catalog, just with everything in it testing. Or that's kind of again the bellwether, I would say, is part of our always on strategy, of course. And then as we look for our testing approach, we have tried to get super granular, do promo specific catalogs, for example, where we have 80 products on sale, but we're always looking at the opportunity cost there. How is that going to perform versus the run of the 30,000? And we've really had trouble making the very niche sets work when we start to group by like individual line, like crystalline collection, like individual groupings. You can get infinitely cute with how you want to slice and dice the catalog across the board. But what we found is you really need to hit that sweet spot between maximum customizability, like maximum options for the algorithm to choose from for an individual placement, versus ones that are going to really drive the biggest impact for your business. So what we've kind of landed on is going for around like products over $500 type of set, where we're taking out a lot of the smaller ticket items.
Have
But
you ever
again,
tried moving this like SKU density concept, right? So like showing someone a lot of SKUs. Have you ever tried moving that into a video? Like, hey, like this is just a SKU of video, like a carousel. Has that ever worked?
oh, like a carousel flipping through it. It's interesting that you say
Yeah,
that. I
like
can't tell you. I can't tell you now, but we have it coming up with some of
okay,
our
okay, cool.
Black
Yeah,
Friday
because
sales
again, I
launches.
think
So
if you
it
have
is in
35
play.
seconds, right? If you got 35 seconds to show someone something,
Yeah.
just show them a lot of stuff, see what they like.
Yeah, and that is an option in some cases to like turn your catalog into a video, flipping through. Not something that we've tested on Axon yet, but as I mentioned, it is
Yeah, yeah.
coming. It
Okay,
is coming.
well,
Your head's in the right
oh, okay,
space
well,
there. Yeah.
okay. The last area I want to chat about is around scaling, right? So scaling for promotional periods, especially. Obviously, you have, I think, more than most, some pretty insane scale ups during promo periods. You want to tell people a little bit about that?
That we go hard for the holidays. As much as I would like to have those days off, and I relished it in the past, we're always on. We're at the end of the day, it's a simple calculation. We're looking at to match spend to demand, to maximize our share of voice during these crucial periods where we know that the demand is going to be there,
Hmm.
especially around those major temple periods. So that's your Memorial Day, that's your Labor Day, your July 4th,
Yeah.
and of course Black Friday first and foremost. Now this is industry specific, but I would encourage everyone out there to really have a good understanding of your demand trends. That should be second nature to you, of understanding year over year, consistently where that spend is coming from. And for me, it always comes back to like some of the misconceptions I had when I first started out in performance marketing with my career, where I would see, oh yeah, we had a fantastic ROAS over Black Friday. This is great. Our ROAS doubled, like over that period. And now I'm hands on my head, going, oh gosh, we didn't spend nearly enough
You left a lot of money on the table. Yeah.
against these creatives. So start to view it from rather as efficiency as cost efficiency per ad dollar. Think of it as like efficiency per opportunity is really the approach we've taken. And we pride ourselves at Resident on our ability to scale massively during these holidays. And that's probably one, I think it might be the single thing that's impressed me the most about AppLovin. Is one of the reasons that we are consistently working over those long holiday weekends is to just make sure that we can spend up to what we have projected. For Memorial Day, for example, we over the course of a 3-day period, I want to say we went from spending around, this was when we first started out, for spending around $4K a day, all the way up to $25K per day.
Like, just give context to how fast that happened. Like, was it over a week? Was it over a weekend? Over a couple days?
It was over the course of 3 days that we scaled up. So we
were 25 is kind of that's pretty impressive. Yeah,
2x over day, and we are you going to lose a little bit of efficiency on that first day? Yes, of course it's going to happen. When you look at week over week in terms of efficiency, this is what we pride ourselves on. Is you can't look at it without the context of the spend behind it. We were flat on ROAS from the week before Labor Day to the week during Labor Day, where spend had more than 3x across that time frame. So you are going to pick up some efficiency on the back end of it. That's one of the main differentiators between the Resident business and the Ashley business. Is in the Resident business, we don't have budgets. We have efficiency targets. If we're below our efficiency target, we scale back. If we're above our efficiency target, we scale up. And that applies to, every level.
Yeah, of course. That's actually epic, man. That's so epic. Well, look, any parting thoughts, words of wisdom, advice?
Keep the setup as simple as it can possibly be. That's really where we are seeing the whole industry start to move. You see like a lot of the updates that Meta's been making, not just over the years, also recently with Andromeda, is lean on the algorithm. Let it take care of the heavy lifting for you. As a media buyer, that's absolutely music to my ears. That would be my parting advice.
All right, Dan, this is a pleasure. I love it. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the partnership. You've been amazing. Ash has been amazing. Resident's been amazing. I wish you the most incredible Black Friday and Q4 ever. I hope you guys absolutely slay.
We're looking forward to crushing it.